Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal, Slow Beef.
I thought you forgot your name for a second.
I thought you forgot for a sec.
No, I couldn't get the stupid ring up. And with me, of course, my good friend Oren Ronan.
Hello.
Devious Vacuum. My good friend Devious Vacuum.
It's the last one. I'm gonna have to buy more after this, or am I?
My good friend Jim.
Hey everybody, I didn't spit on my computer this time.
My good friend Polohoko.
That was actually a Mike's Hard.
Oh shit.
Nice. Oh.
Popping off
Oh
tonight.
shit is right. Oh my god. Yeah, alright, so listen, before we all pop off.
I'm here too.
Wait, didn't I?
Nope.
Oh, my good friend Turbo Sig.
No, it's okay. We don't have to be friends anymore if you don't want to.
We weren't friends. So chapter 6 continues, right?
Yes, it does.
No, it just stops there. Game's over.
Okay, good. The end. Episode 7 now. What happens? What happens again?
When we last left our heroes,
Mm-hmm.
we
left in a time leap.
Yeah, we go back 48 hours this time.
yeah, we're about to time leap. So Suzuha told us more about the future. We found out that the IBM 5100 database is probably where they store data from Echelon and where they're intercepted text messages. That's what Suzuha found out from her father in her father's will. That was her mission to get Rintaro and the gang that IBM 5100. Yeah, and we were about to leap back in time and tell everybody that we've got to fix Suzuha's time machine.
Yeah.
And who better to do it than Dar?
Of course. Why not fix it? Why not fix the time machine, Daru?
Which was weird, because, like, I don't think that was discussed, and then suddenly it just happens where he becomes the person who's responsible for it.
Yeah, weird that he would be able to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, alright, you know a little bit about computers. Now how about this huge quantum physics device?
Out of all of them, he is the most, capable, I guess.
Well, as long as he can think of it in anime terms, he's fine.
Yeah.
But before they decide on that, they also decide they want to find Suzuha's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they start interrogating her about what information she knows. And I think Mayuri is the one that focuses it on to, what about Suzuha's dad? Because we're far back enough in the past, right when Suzuha was talking about how she wanted to find her dad. So they finally ask her stuff about her dad, and she says she knows that her father went by Beryl Titer, but she doesn't know his real name.
Yeah.
Folks.
Mm.
The candidates are narrowing.
Yeah, it was real. They were kind of telegraphing this one from the very beginning, but, you know.
Amane is her mother's maiden name, is what she says. Her last name. The only clue she has about her father's identity is a pin that says OSHM **A 7010. And it's like a circle, and it's like a planet and looking design with a swoosh. And she doesn't know where the pin is from.
So, did any of you figure out what the letter means before the reveal?
I figured it was 2010.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a
year.
7 at all.
Yeah, it looks much more like 2010 than 7010.
Yeah. But I didn't put it together until Mayuri puts it together for us later at the end. But I put together who Suzuha's father was immediately.
Even though it's so obvious, once you get a reveal. They didn't put it together either.
It's a little bit insulting that Mayuri has to figure it out for you.
It's wild that we're ahead of ourselves, but it is wild that she figured it out, of all people.
Right.
So related to why is Daru the one that can fix the time machine anyway? So Suzuha says, my father reverse engineered this time machine from CERN. And then Daru goes to examine the time machine, and he says, hey, it's built kind of like the phone wave. And he starts to understand, which I hope it's not, but, okay. And it's just okay, well.
They just go to Sears, get a fridge this time, so it's a little bigger and fit a person inside it, and then hook a phone up to it there.
Somebody at CERN had a coupon. Yeah, it works.
The bottom of this is a 50-inch television. What the hell?
Oh, CERN.
So we're kind of, you know, the evidence is all there. But meanwhile, Suzuha also at the lab shows Rintaro the divergence percent machine, because John Titor said that he had a device that measured divergence.
Yep.
And Rintaro is looking at it and he's like, "Ha, that's cool. He's like, I'd happily dub it Future Gadget number 9, and she's like, "Good, because you made this in the future."
I was half expecting him to be like, "Oh, that's the numbers I see every time I time leap."
I actually read some of John Titor's original message board posts this week from the real world, and he does talk about divergence, about that he has a divergence machine, and that this world line is like 0.3% diverge from the one he comes from. So they took that from the real world.
Wow. Ugh. So
How you could even tell that? Yeah. Sure.
Did they, or was this past the point where they give us the divergence machine, or they show it to Rintaro?
yeah, he has it now.
Yeah, yeah. Suzuha gives it to him.
Yeah, they kind of flagged this up where it's like, okay, you invented this, and you've got reading Steiner, so you're the only one that can use it, because to everybody.
Oh yeah, she can't even use it.
Yeah, because it doesn't change for anyone else.
Yeah, to everybody else, it's just it's the thing. It's the thing that always has these 5 numbers on it. We don't know what it does.
And so he's like, "So did you meet me in the future?" And Suzuha's like, "No, you died. You were killed by CERN. You were known as a terrorist."
Pretty much all of them are dead in the future.
Yeah. So Kurisu and Rintaro are both dead in the future, but she knows who they are.
And Suzuha's father also.
Yeah. Who could that be?
I really wanted it to... I mean, I was expecting it to be, but I was thinking of something else. Something better.
Well, maybe we can, maybe when we get to the reveal, we could talk about that.
So while Daru is fixing the time machine, Rintaro and Mayuri and everybody kind of like go out and try to see what information they can find about Suzuha's father. Rintaro finds a enamel pin vendor in a part of town and is like, "That's a weird." He's like, he's foreign and he is odd, so he's like, well, maybe he knows about this weird pin, because he makes, like, some of these pins kind of look like this weird pin, but not exactly. And this kind of a continual comedy scene where this guy can't really speak Japanese and Rintaro can't really speak English, so they don't really know what anybody's saying.
But of course, his American accent is spot on.
Can you imagine, by the way, what a nightmare this is to translate?
Oh my god, right?
They basically put all the English in capital letters and left it at that.
No, but I guess, right. I was just thinking, well, is it like just how it is in Japanese, like where Rintaro's trying to like sound this stuff out? Because I feel like they must have taken some liberties where he's like, judo wrestler? Like, you know, that kind of thing. You know, but I don't know.
You have voice acting, you can hear that.
Well, I played on the bus, so...
So, wait, you missed Rintaro's, like, greatest line ever in the game?
Oh my god.
I guess I did.
You need to listen to that, because...
Yeah, you have to listen to
Really
that.
good. It is.
He shouts,
Right.
"Son of a bitch!"
Like, very
I-
cool. Or super cool.
So cool. Son of a bitch.
cool.
It's really good.
I'll have to check it. All right, I have to go find that.
That's what English is. He's got it. Perfect American English.
You have to establish yourself that you are a mad scientist, and then son of a bitch.
That's what Wily says at the end of every Mega Man, so it's perfect.
Like, so this enamel pin vendor has a voice actor. So, I'm pretty sure he's important.
They didn't give him a sprite, though, did they?
No, maybe it's for the best.
No, it didn't, but everyone has voice actors in this game. Every spoken line has voice.
Yeah, I guess he has a unique voice actor, or at least it sounded unique. But maybe that's just because of the huge accent. And let's see. then he goes back and he's like, he gives the guy his contact info for some reason, and is like, if anyone asks you about this pin, call me, or whatever.
Even though we can barely understand each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay. And, Suzuha...
Yeah, like, I would, like, give him your email instead of voice.
And, but, so he does that. He's like, and also it's like classic Rintaro being like way too forthcoming with personal information. Just like, here you go, like, random person.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since we've established the rounders are, foreigners. Or at least most of them.
By the way, this character is where I think the only place the game is a little bit racist. Because it speaks Japanese the way Japanese people think foreigners speak Japanese. And no foreigners speak Japanese that way. You can't speak broken Japanese the way this guy speaks broken Japanese.
Interesting. So, you're playing in Japanese, right, on your Vita?
Oh, yeah. And I'm rewatching it in English afterward.
Gotcha. Okay. That's interesting.
Also, Suzuha calls him out on his stupid English, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, is that standard English in this era?
And he's like, yeah, it's good. This is the best English.
Is that where she reveals that she's never been abroad? That she's... Or is that
No
later?
one goes abroad in her time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she says it a couple times. Yeah.
It's the first time she's ever seen a foreigner in her life.
Oh my god.
Does that mean she's from Japan?
Yeah, she's Japanese.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
She fakes being American in the real world timeline of John Titor.
Oh, we don't even know if that's her in the other time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And Rintaro isn't that put off. I guess, like, a Japanese person wouldn't be that, because he immediately relates it to the Japanese history of isolationism. And so he's like, oh, well, maybe it's not, like, he doesn't really, like, see it as scary, because he's like, oh, well, our country did that in the past. So we eventually get back to the time machine, and Daru's gonna finish it, I think. And because Suzuha's talking more about her past and about her father, and more about Rintaro, and she says that Rintaro is one of the founding members of the resistance, just like her dad. Huh. So Rintaro asks about other people that are around, and he knows that Mayuri dies, but, Suzuha's like, I don't know what happens to her, I don't know what happens to Daru, I never heard of him. And it's like, huh.
Well, I don't know if does this happen later where Mayuri says something like...
This is where when she says it, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She says, don't you think that Daru and Suzuha are a good match, that they work well together?
Which I'm like, no, not really, but whatever.
So she already kind of figured it out. I mean, she's very empathetic, so maybe she kind of, like, felt it before they really had enough evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, before we do that, we get that weird scene of the flyers and the... With Mayuri passing out the flyers. That was odd.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I don't remember this.
She's like passing out flyers that are like, and then the cops get involved. Oh, she says like, they're looking for, I'm trying to remember, it's like, her father is like, he got kidnapped.
Yeah. It's just an odd, like, side thing, and it goes right back to normal.
I don't remember this either. I see it in the LP now, but it must be an optional scene somehow.
Oh, maybe I got that by mistake. Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea how you get it though. It might be like related to something you do or not do in the past.
I'm looking at the walkthrough. Yeah, I think that's what's happened. Yep.
Because I didn't see this in my playthrough.
I think it was one of those because I screwed up one of the choices in one of the previous plays, and I think I earned a point for something, and that's what got me to it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, that's cool.
But it doesn't go anywhere, so it's not really relevant to this stuff. So we can just get back to it.
Let's do this. So, wait, let's remove the part about you saying you accidentally doing something earlier and getting a point, and we'll just leave it as a mystery we've never solved.
It's an alternate world line.
Mm-hmm.
Now that this word world line has entered my lexicon, I find myself, like, when something weird happens, I'm like, is this an alternate world line? And nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Because you're the only one with the reading Steiner who knows what you're talking about.
Right, yeah. So, this game has negatively impacted my life. I'm addicted to Dr. Pepper again. It's really just... No, I'm kidding. So, What else? Suzuha says her father was a founding member of the Resistance. How could he be anyone else but Daru at this point? Rintaro doesn't have any other friends. The pin guy calls Rintaro and on his cell phone. And Rintaro, I love it that he like gives people his number, and then when they call him, he doesn't know who they are.
Before that, Suzuha has like a really nice scene with Rintaro where she tells him about life in 2036 and how much he's enjoying her time here.
Yeah.
Nobody has any choice about anything. Everybody has like dead eyes and no soul in the future, and everything's controlled.
It's a very peaceful period, but
Yeah, she keeps calling it peaceful.
There's no war, but no one really lives either.
So she's like so happy that she gets to do stuff here and see people and like enjoy herself and have fun with her friends.
And she was happy when she got yelled at.
Yeah, she was happy to see someone expressing emotion.
That's right, yeah. Yep. Yeah, even that is, like, forbidden.
What a miserable life Suzuha has.
And she's happy making friends.
Fucking CERN! More like nerds if you mix up the letters and add a D. Yeah, take that, fuckers. Sorry, what?
Well, you just single-handedly stopped CERN from getting created.
End podcast.
What if we had a guest on that was someone that actually worked at CERN? Wouldn't that be wild?
So tell us, really, what are you really doing over there?
Yeah, we would definitely interrogate them.
I wonder how many degrees of separation I am from someone who actually works there.
We would definitely not ask them anything about real CERN.
First of all, this game is really inaccurate. We at CERN do not do human experiments at CERN.
Okay, but yeah, if you did, what would you do?
Well, if we did, then we would throw people backwards in time and then look at the news. We don't.
I knew it.
We don't, though.
Well, no, we'd invite them on the podcast, but then we would never have heard of Steins Gate. Suddenly.
It would be a science podcast instead.
What do you think of Dream Daddy 2?
But I want to be on that world line where there's a second one. That sounds pretty good. I don't know. All visual novels are Dream Daddy in 2036.
Thank you, CERN. The Large Novel Collider. It works.
Large Novel Collider just produces Ever 17 and what do you call it? Danganronpa.
Danganronpa.
17.
Oh my god.
Doggone! What are you selling, enamel pins? Oh.
Oh my god. I would look, that's how they made like 53 Danganronpas.
Oh my god, yeah, you get all of them. Did you want to see all these? You get them.
Yeah.
We just smash them into other visual novels.
CERN is also Team Danganronpa.
Yeah?
The Large Monokuma Collider.
The Dagon particle.
Here's Danganronpa in space.
If you back out on the LHC and like look at it from a top-down view, it's not actually a circle, it's a Monokuma bear head.
This one's Danganronpa with pigeons.
The Large Hatoful Collider.
This is like within one standard deviation of being real life, too. Like, we're not, that's not even enough to cause a 1% divergence on this world line, is what I'm saying.
It flickers to a 0.001 and then flickers back to 0.
God. Okay, so, the custom pin guy. The pin guy says that someone came by and wanted to make a custom pin with the same design as Suzuha's pin. The guy tries to describe someone who is clearly Daru.
Calls him a judo master.
A wrestling guy.
Pro wrestler.
Pro wrestler and a balloon.
And a balloon.
I was taking it as like he meant like sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
But like
Almost
didn't.
certainly.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I like before this, though, the guy calls us and says that someone came, and Rintaro is just like, well, did you get his email, or his name, or his home address, or his phone number? And the guy's like, in his broken Japanese, is like, dude, I can't give you that. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Also, I probably wrote it down wrong.
Yeah. So, but he gets the time, approximately. Or he has a window of time now. So, he is able to leap back in time and go find the pin guy at that time that the guy was there. This is also at this moment, Rintaro, before he leaps again, he still is thinking about the fact that his he believes his consciousness is sent back in time because of reading Steiner, so that his memories and consciousness are both sent back in time because of his ability. Again, how would you even know if that was the case or not? But, so, Rintaro uses the time leap machine to go back and find the pin guy. It's Daru, baby! Daru was gonna order copies of the pin as a backup in case they didn't find her dad. And, Daru talks to us a little bit more about it, and, he also says at this point that he kind of wanted it to be that's later, where he wants it to be like a symbol.
Yeah, it's later. But at this point, as soon as we meet Daru, my first thought is, well, Daru's her father.
Yeah, it's
Well, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Who else could it be?
Like, this is the game kind of trying to throw you off, but yeah.
Daru doesn't know he's her dad.
No, he doesn't. So Suzuha told him that she can only go back to the past with the time machine.
Yeah, so once she goes to 1975, she's in 1975, and they realize that if her mission is successful, then they might see her again, but she'll be 54 years old.
Aww.
So they're back at the time machine, they're getting ready to leave.
Wait, that's later. So first we get the entire scene with Suzuha talking to Rintaro again, except this time he knows she can't come back. So her...
Oh, right.
Yeah, what she says is like a different meaning now.
Yeah, it makes sense why she talks about it so wistfully, and she's like so happy that she got, because she knows she can't come back.
Oh, pathos.
So she decides to give the pin to us to keep in the lab. And then Mayuri is like, wait, I know who your before you go, I know who your father is.
Say what?
And everyone's like, and Mayuri's like, it makes total sense. Daru suggested that that the pin be a symbol of the lab, the Future Gadget Laboratory, and it already is!
Gas pow.
It's all of their initials. The three that are starred out are the people they don't like. No.
I think it's the people who aren't actually lab members in this timeline.
Yeah.
But because Rintaro keeps jumping back, he keeps giving them the same numbers, so Amane is still, the last one is still number, what is it, 7?
Yeah, we're missing Luca and
Yeah.
Kiryu.
Moeka. Yeah, and Ferris, I guess.
Yeah, Ferris, yeah. So wait, in this timeline, those three are not lab mems.
I think so.
We've gone back before that?
We don't know, right? Because technically, the last time... Well, wait. Before we time-leapt, we did D-mail, and the last D-mail that we know worked was Faris changing the past about Akiba, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she's technically a lab mem, but, like, I guess the problem is at this point, like, it's pretty hard to know exactly what's been going on.
Yeah, I can't... Connecting those dots is hard.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the question of whether just Okabe remembers or everyone does.
Well, does it have anything to do with Okabe at all? Because presumably this pin only exists because Daru wanted to make the fake pin.
No, wait, I'm wrong. Because, you know what? He doesn't assign Faris a number at that point with the D-mail. He already had. That's why Suzuha's number 8, right?
Yeah, she joined the lab as soon as he told her about the time machine.
Yeah, so, like, even if Faris did the D-mail last, she might have already been assigned a number. Or it might have at least been a timeline where she wasn't a lab mem, but did get to use D-mail. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess after she used the D-mail, it undid the memory that she was ever a lab member.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think those times they does the kind of thing where like an object like this just comes out of nowhere because of a loop. So there must have been some kind of timeline, original timeline where Daru made this pin.
Oh,
not
that's
because
right.
Amane gave
was
gave
from a
him
different
the pin.
timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
He made it, yeah, specifically to commemorate the lab.
Well, she's from the 0% world line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is virtually the same as what we're in, so I don't know. It could just be a self-fulfilling prophecy. sort of thing.
It's sweet that the Daru wanted to make that symbol of the lab in this timeline and others, because he always comes across like he doesn't really care about it, you know? And, like, he obviously, like, really does care about it, and it's very sweet. Another important thing...
Yeah, even Kurisu says that that's unconventionally kind of you.
Yeah, and another important thing is that Mayuri asks Suzuha what is the name of this machine, and she gives off, like, the serial number, and it ends with, like, FG204, and it's that which stands for Future Gadget number 204.
And then it's like...
Yeah, version 2.03,
Version 2.0.
which, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, that's how Daru names things.
Yeah.
And then Mayuri finally explains the barrel titer thing, which I understand it now, but it's a pun on Hashira Itaru. I guess if you say it over and over again really fast.
And barrel in Japanese is taru, which is the clue Americans can get. But it's really obvious to Japanese people.
It's like it's like a common kind of T and the letters like T and D. It's like I forget like if it's called a thing, but I mean there's other pairs like that, right? I mean, Oren, obviously you're the expert here, but it's like D and T and then like H and B and like it's like it's like some kind of modification on the consonant that I can't think of the name
voicing. It's whether the consonant is voiced or not.
Yeah. Oh, is that what that is?
Sure.
Oh wow. Okay.
The only difference between
why not?
The only difference between T and D is whether your vocal cords are vibrating or not when you say it.
No shit.
Yep.
Wait a minute, H and B. Is that true of all of them?
It's true of T and D, and then
K and G.
K and G.
Like Kanga. Yeah. Holy crap! I never realized that.
I don't.
T and T. Oh
This
my
is like
god!
something-
Yeah, you're right.
Kana, and then S becomes Z, right? Like
Yeah.
sa, za.
Oh yeah, look at that. If you feel it, if you hold it.
Yeah, say the letter T and D and put your finger on your throat, and you'll feel it vibrating when you say D.
Wow.
Vibrating when you say T.
Sa, za.
Ta.
Wow.
Wow.
Kana symbols. How many?
Look, this is great podcast material, folks.
I just love all the vocalizations. Yeah, that I'm hearing.
Hey, everybody, do it at home with us.
Yeah, come on, feel your throats.
Ta-da!
Anyway,
I studied phonology, so yeah.
there you go. That'll do it. You said phrenology. Anyway, so okay, what yeah. So anyway, Daru's her father.
But anyway, his real name is Itaru, so it's the even if we don't.
Yeah. Right. Daru Itaru. And then, like, that's also kind of how you get the whole, like, if you say, like, Hashira Daru over and over again, like, you get tighter out of it.
Yeah.
Which, again, is one of those things that sounds a little weird, but, like, works better with, like, those syllables.
Yeah, you don't get you get taita, which is how Japanese pronounce taita.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Taita.
Babaru Taita.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when Mayuri first says, like, I'm 1,000,000,000% sure it's Daru, Suzuha's just, my dad isn't fat.
Wow.
Thanks, kid. My daughter would say something like that, though, to be fair.
So I actually lost a lot of weight like 10 years ago, and people didn't recognize me afterwards. So that rings true. Because it's not just your, like, your face changes. Your face changes when you lose a lot of weight.
Not your body, is your...
Your face.
It really does change. Yep.
Yeah. Sure, it all checks out.
But aside from the fact that she doesn't believe that Daru could lose weight. Oh, I guess the way he acts.
But even if you, even if he didn't, like, even if she was like, he kind of looks like him, I feel like if you met Daru, you'd be like, no. And that's what everybody says, like, no way. This pervert has sex once at least? I don't believe it.
That's what I was saying. Like, forget about, oh, he's fat or whatever. It's like, no, Daru's not getting laid. It's not possible in any world line.
Kurisu is very blatant about this.
Yeah.
He's like, this pervert!
Oh my god.
You couldn't pay me enough. Like, all right, Chris, that's,
But we find out they met at the ComiKet.
Yeah, we find that in the bad end.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess if you didn't get the bad end, maybe you won't learn it? I don't know, we'll see.
I don't know if it's a bad end.
It's an end.
It's an
yeah,
ending.
Yeah, it's not necessarily bad, yeah.
You got an ending. Gets pretty dark, though.
Yeah, the lead up to it is pretty bad, but...
Oof, okay, we'll get there, but... Oof.
And Suzuha knows better than to tell Daru what her mom looks like or what her mom's name is. Although apparently her last name is Amane, which is like kind of a big hint. But they have a moment, and Daru is really like supportive, and like it's really sweet because it seems like he knows that he should act fatherly toward her, that that's like the right thing to do in this moment, even though he's like not ready for those feelings and like, you know, isn't her father yet. And so he, you know, that he like is supportive of her, and as she gets into the time machine, he like yells a speech after her.
But how he's gonna do his best.
Because she is doing literally what he wanted, and he hasn't even decided, you know, he's in the past, he hasn't decided that's what he wanted yet. It's probably hard, he's probably dealing with a lot. Because like the idea that he would get to a point in the future where he would like tell his daughter, like, go try to fix it. Because it screwed up so bad. Like, he can't, like, own any of that, but also he kind of is, and yeah.
It's sweet. It's the comic relief character, like, trying to be, like, the serious character, or a little more serious.
It was good. I liked it.
Suzuha gets very emotional that she gets to meet her father.
I'd get a little angry if she didn't.
Because, yeah, that's what she came to this time period for. Otherwise, she would have just gone back directly to 1975.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so she leaves in the time machine.
Yeah, she promises that she would come to them, like, at this date, after, like, she left. So they expect.
And she does, and it all works out the end.
This is so bad.
Yeah, she would have been about 35, and they all go back to the lab, expecting her, you know, expecting the knock on the door. And it's...
But what really happens...
Well, go ahead.
No, you go.
It's Mr. Brown at the door. And he's got a letter for everybody from the old lady that used to own the building. And it is this absolutely just anguished letter of... apparently when the time machine went back, all that water, you know, it broke it, and Daru fixed it sort of, but it still malfunctioned. So when she went back in time, she lost all of her memories and lived 24 years as a regular person, and then during the last year of her life suddenly remembered who she was and what she was supposed to do, and is just completely stricken with anguish and despair, and is just, I failed over and over again. And it turns...
Just for one moment of levity, I will thank her for repping the Retsu Prey logo so many times. Go ahead.
I mean, she says it like 30 times in the letter.
Yes, in kanji, thank you.
How much did you pay her for each one of those?
The voice actress nails it in this letter. I really liked the acting here.
It's so heartbreaking.
It is. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting it at all. I was expecting to get the IBN.
It's so dark. I mean, I figured something went wrong, but I didn't think it would be this heartbreaking. Like, she just remembered, and by then it was too late. The IBN was not where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, she couldn't get it at that point, and then it's like, well, my entire life has been just meaningless.
She makes a lot of references to Nostradamus' prophecies, too. Because apparently the day she remembers is, like, one of the days Nostradamus predicted the world would end. The king of evil or something would come.
Right. So, and then after that too, like, Rintaro asks Mr. Braun, like, what happened to the woman who sent the letter, and it turns out killed herself. So...
Yeah. We knew we asked about her beforehand, before we read the letter.
Oh, she had died, that's right,
She had died 10 years ago, and then he asked how she died. And... Mr. Brown was actually pretty uncomfortable talking about this until you urged him.
Yeah. I mean, to a kid, yeah.
So, yeah. She hung herself a week after she wrote that letter.
Yeah, and in the letter, there's kind of like this, how to put it. It's like, it's my fault. I shouldn't have come to 2010. If I'd have gone straight to 1975, I would have gotten the machine. If I'd have left, it would have been different. If you can do that... Just stop me from... Don't let me stay. Just let me go and get the machine and it'll all work out.
which means changing the past so that she does run away, which was a bad thing that happened that he reversed in the past with a D-mail.
Right.
So Rintaro thinks, well, I can do something about this. I can D-mail myself again in the past and be like, ignore the earlier message.
Right, it's like a CERN, like, thing.
It says trap, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't there a part, too, though, where he kind of berates Daru for not fixing the time machine correctly, which...
He does. And everyone kind of quickly comes to the point. It's like, look, it's a fucking time machine from the year 2037. I've never done this shit before. I'm sorry.
Like, I mean, to be fair, I get Rintaro's upset, but that is, like... I can't think of, like, that's such a cheap piece of shit shot. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yeah.
And you can tell he is... Daru himself is very, like, worked up over it, too, because after, when he looks over to Daru, he notices that he is completely pale.
Yeah, well, he even says a thing, like... Yeah, sorry.
Daru realizes this is, like, he blames himself.
Oh, yeah, well,
Definitely.
I mean... Yeah, like, he probably can't process that, but it's just like, yeah, you know, it really isn't his fault, but it's like, you can't help but blame yourself for something like that, you know?
Fortunately, Kurisu comes in and, basically writes it, well, says, Daru did the best he could in 2 days' time to fix a time machine.
In 2 days.
Kurisu says, don't worry, Daru, you do get to fuck once later.
God.
Sorry, God. Anyway.
Could you even, though, knowing that?
Could you? Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, Daru
could.
alright, that's enough. Yeah, but...
Yeah, so this is the break point where you have the choice to send it or not send it.
Yeah, because sending it means like you undo everything Suzuha went through, like her finding friends and finding her father and enjoying life for the first time. So that's what it would mean, just that for her to just go back directly to 1975 and skip that week.
But she'll still be there, right, though? It's like, she'd be there, but she wouldn't have, like...
Yeah,
she wouldn't have the reveal.
But she lives before they really become friends.
Like, the reason that they became friends is because they begged her to stay. And then,
true.
yeah.
Can I save her life or deny her one really cool day? No, sorry, go ahead.
How cool am I that she gets to spend 1 day with me?
If he can't do it, if you don't send the D-mail, then Rintaro instead uses the time leap to rewind 48 hours, and he can't do it. He can't deny Suzuha her happiness in order for Mayuri to live. He doesn't want Suzuha to die, but he also, and he doesn't want Mayuri to die, and he can't bring himself to undo the happiness. So he's like, well, instead, we'll just do this. I can't choose between Suzuha and Mayuri, so I'm just gonna repeat the same 2 days forever. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens in this ending.
So, I mean, I think on the face of it, if you haven't been reading along or whatever, that sounds kind of ridiculous, but I kind of get it in a way, you know?
Yeah. Who are you to make that kind of decision for someone, Like, to just decide, like, no, like, you had this amazing thing, and I'm gonna take it away from you from my perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like probably like too much for like really like just some 19-year-old to bear, and just like, okay, forget it. I'm gonna quote unquote keep putting it off in a way, And
Rintaro is so much more sensitive than he acts like he is.
Right.
Hit the snooze button on the universe.
And so he just and like at first it could have been like, I just need time to like accept this, but
well, it was right from the start. It was like, okay, this is my life now. This is my world. I'm just going to live in the same 2 days forever.
Yeah, we get a couple of iterations for this.
We get a lot.
Yeah.
And the one notable event that happens while they're out well, actually, so the day as they go biking.
Yeah. The first time is like he's like third or fourth loop. They're the first one we see.
Yeah, he decides to go biking, and they all go cycling,
and he said that like Suzuha really enjoys it, so it has to do it every time, every loop.
Yeah, he does the same thing every time, which I think is like key initial mistake. They bike to the same location every single time. There's so many places. I don't know. I get it. I mean,
mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe mix it up a little bit.
That's the fatal mistake.
If you're going to live the same 2 days over and over.
They go to the location of this con that's going to be there in a few weeks or something, but it's not there yet.
So that's Comic Market, which, if you know anything about the Japanese doujinshi,
Oh.
yeah, it's the largest convention for selling doujinshi in Japan. It happens twice a year, in the summer and in the winter. And like that weird-ass looking convention center is the real one, the one with the two upside down pyramids.
And Suzuha says that her mom and dad met at Komima, and Rintaro says this great line, "Ah, so your mother was a Fujoshi." Ah, yes, I'm half Fujoshi on my mother's side.
So, by the way, this is ComiKet, really, right?
Yeah, ComiKet is...
That they're calling Kamima? Yeah, the real thing.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, because you know how they kind of change things sometimes?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I thought it was just a real thing.
It's basically a large convention where 99% of whoever goes there goes to buy porn. Because
Or Gall Shell.
That's what they sell there.
So Daru would have definitely been there.
Yeah. They sell porn to men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we met.
That's how they met. Wow. I mean, I buy it. I totally buy it.
Their hand goes on the same porno, like the same hentai cover. Their
Wow.
fingers touch. Oh, I didn't know you liked Bowsette. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh my god. She's there as Bowsette.
We'll tell our children about this someday.
God. That's great. How romantic on, a modern romance. So we jump through cycles. I think he shows us, we see, the first cycle and the fourth cycle, and then the 10th cycle, and Rintaro becomes disconnected from reality.
And then there's a cycle that he's he's not sure how long it's been, 100th or 1000th.
Yeah, and I guess he cracks up, really, or he starts to, because the first thing that happens is...
He starts at the 10th, he cracks up.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's funny because, so what happens basically is while they're biking, there's a point when I think Daru stops and a truck kind of buzzes by him and he grabs him. And then he's kind of starting to think well, what if I don't grab him? And then he's just he just lets it happen. And what happens is nothing really. Daru kind of falls off his bike and Kurisu and, Suzuha?
Yeah, they're
Yeah, or Maurice, I forget. Yeah. But they help him up. And then he's kind of what the hell is wrong with me? Did I just want to see if he would die? What, and that's where, he starts to...
Yeah, he goes into this kind of dark monologue. It's what would happen? Would the truck decapitate him? Would his blood fly all over the place? Would he get smeared on the road? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. If he dies, I just go back in time and he's there again.
Is he there yet? Was he thinking that? Because I remember the next thing he
Yeah, in
definitely...
the 10th timeline, he's like that.
That's where he first started thinking it. Is it doesn't. It's that sort of nothing actually matters. So if Daru dies, who cares?
He goes pretty quickly into this, I am the god of this timeline.
Yeah.
I get he's repeating the same day over and over again, but that was pretty quick. It was essentially 20 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he keeps thinking he's God when he's not even the one who makes the time leap machine. I don't know.
But he's the one who's... Yeah. I mean,
He's the one
yeah.
doing it, yeah. But he feels like someone else is telling him these thoughts. He's, dissociating. He's, totally losing it. And he's, basically, will he be able to keep everyone safe even from himself?
Yeah.
At this point in my notes is when I wrote, in all caps, you could ask them to do different things other than bike or bike different places.
I mean, you get... I mean, yeah. You kind of get the feeling, though, that would be, just delaying the inevitable,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Uh-huh.
This is, the part of Groundhog Day they don't go over.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, gets referenced at some
I
point,
know.
but yes.
It's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything is losing meaning for Rintaro. He's becoming disconnected from reality, and nothing means anything. And, I didn't really know what this was gonna result in, but finally, after hundreds or even thousands of cycles, Suzuha notices something about him.
There's a really dark scene with Suzuha before that.
Yeah, so she,
Yeah.
wants to talk to him, ask him if he's okay, and he has this thought, I could just rape her, and no one would know, And
Yeah.
And he said that he said that he can take her, but I think she would take him immediately.
yeah, I'm pretty sure she
yeah.
would beat him the fuck up. But
She would, yeah.
Yeah, she beat a few like armed men, like big armed men before.
I mean, like, this is, like, him totally cracking up, though, because I think what's, like, really dark about it, too, it's not even, like, a thing where he's like, what am I thinking, or whatever. He, like, really thinks it through. Like, okay, but I'm a guy, we could just, do this, da-da-da-da.
Or it'll loop back around anyway, right? That he
Yeah.
would, like, eventually be able to succeed, which is,
It's
like,
almost a relief when he starts thinking, like, well, I even stop there. I could burn things down, I could murder people, I could do anything. Like, who knows how far this could go. And then that's like, kind of... Yeah, that's what kind of, like, snaps him out of it in a weird way, because then it's like, that's when he's sort of afraid of, like, I guess who he's turning into, or who he always was, or whatever, but this is, like...
To his credit, he catches himself, and then he apparently doesn't have these thoughts again for, like, dozens of loops. He just fades away, but...
Yeah, he remembers why he did this, which is to make everyone happy, and so...
Yeah. So, I think... So this is, I don't know, maybe I'm going out on a limb with this reading of it, but we kind of joked a while back about, like, how could, like, CERN be, like, an evil kind of thing where it's like a, place for nuclear research, and it's like, and it was like, well, this is, like, absolute power corrupting absolutely, but this is kind of, like, a microcosm of that, right, where it's like, wait a minute, like, we're trying to make things good and we're gods of this, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't think you can have a thing like this and not have it kind of destroy you in some way.
yeah, how many times have all those people looped?
I like the way that the game portrays this. I'm almost kind of reading it as like this is what happens would happen to most people, if not everybody, if you're placed in a situation where absolutely nothing you do matters, and there's no kind of morality, there's no kind of anything you can do can just be undone, and you've lived for thousands of cycles, etc. It's like, okay, I just want to see something different. I don't care what it is. I just want to see something different.
Or, like, CERN could be like, yeah, we killed a lot of people at the Jellyman, but we'll figure it out at some point and undo it.
Yeah, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, they've talked about it before. I think, I forget who it was, but cautioned, maybe it was Suzuha even, who cautioned Rintaro about, like, oh, you'll come disconnected from causality. Because you will. Because there is no, like, everything is meaningless at that point. Like, you can just fix it all in post.
But if you don't get to that point, then you go some dark places.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, we get to the final loop, and at this point, he doesn't even remember why he's doing this. It's just something he does.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, Suzuha finally confronts him because, like, I think at one point Daru is like, I should report that truck, and he just pulls like, why don't you? And he just rattles off the license plate number, and everyone's like, you all right, man? He goes, no, it's fine. Just, like, report him. Go ahead. And Daru's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to. And Suzuha's.
Yeah. It is the most Groundhog Day scene where he's just like, no, here's the fucking, I already know the number. Here's the number of the truck. I've seen it 50,000 times. Just take the number.
Yeah, and Suzuha's like, you're doing a time loop. Like, what gives?
Well, even before that, Daru's like huffing and wheezing. He's like, oh, I'd kill somebody for a drink. And he's like, why don't you?
Yeah. But at any rate, she notices is the point. And then, like,
and she tells him about this movie, Groundhog Day.
Right.
Which I learned from this game in Japanese. Groundhog Day is called Love is a Deja Vu.
Oh my god.
What the
That's the name of the movie in Japanese. It really is.
I mean, I guess to be fair, is Groundhog? Yeah, no, you wouldn't know it. I guess in Japan, yeah, it's an American thing, Groundhog Day. So, still though, that's a weird.
You could do a better
title.
one than Love is a Deja Vu.
Wait, isn't the title for Lost in Translation in Japanese like Lost in Japan or something? Or am I thinking of a different country? Maybe I forget. There's some language where it's not. Yeah, there's some language. I might be Hebrew where it's like literally like the title is literally Lost in Translation, meaning that you know what I mean, like the actual phrase is
like
not,
you can't even translate it.
Yeah. At any rate, so Suzuha's like, I forget exactly how they get there, but she's kind of like, why don't we go back together and we'll try to fix this? And that's the Suzuha ending.
And she says like the reason she noticed is because everybody is like that in her time.
Oh yeah, okay.
Everybody's eyes are dead, and like all that stuff. She also describes Groundhog Day as, it was pretty unsatisfying, which I did not expect, and that made me crack up because, I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
She said it was unsatisfying because the main character is a good person now, and then it's just the loop's done.
It is a little like, it is just, I guess the problem is, yeah, it's like, how do you really end it? It's like, he's got to get with that one girl. It's like, oh, all right.
It's just, yeah, because it's a romantic comedy, but it goes so dark, and you think that there's some kind of internal logic to the time stuff, and it's just like, no, this is just a romantic comedy. That's all we're doing.
Yeah, it's never explained. It's just the time loop's done now.
Yeah.
Does he go into, in the theatrical release, like how he kills himself a few times, or tries to?
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's like 15 minutes of the movie.
There's like, no, but there's like even like some extended stuff that goes into even darker things, which I forget, but like, I remember reading about it. Not quite Rintaro dark, but you know, like,
yeah.
At any rate,
Suzuha does tell Rintaro at this point that he thinks it will go forever, but it can't go forever. At some point, he will completely lose it, and then time will go on.
It'll just continue because he'll screw up or something.
Yeah, and Mayuri will die, and everyone will be unhappy.
Yeah, and I don't know if this has been discussed, but is the reason why everyone in the future is so sort of dead-eyed, is it because CERN avoids conflict by just constantly fixing the past? Is that why there's world peace? Because they just correct every situation?
well, the only problem with that theory is technically you need reading Steiner to know that that's happening.
Yeah, it's true. But is there just like some kind of like collective effect on the world's consciousness if you just keep fucking around with these timelines?
I mean, it speaks that there's like another person with reading, at least one other person with this ability that is controlling things, right?
Mm-hmm. Or yeah.
I think it might literally be that CERN is just constantly rewriting history so that anything bad that could happen never happens. So it's like these people, they don't know what bad is. Maybe
FB has the reading Steiner ability? I don't know.
Fucking Barrel.
Fuck
That's
Barrel. And so at this point, they're gonna go back together, and there's still the possibility that they're gonna lose their memories, right? Like that this isn't enough of a change to mean anything. She's like, maybe with you I'll remember faster. What's preventing them from writing what they're supposed to do on like a piece of paper?
Or their skin.
Or on their bodies? Like,
What? That
their
won't work.
clothes go back with them? I thought everything in the time machine goes back with them, right?
We don't know that, though. Do we?
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, he does.
Yeah, I thought the implication was that this was a time machine that travels, is that this is whatever version this is of the whatever the thing is, like, this takes you back physically.
Okay.
But then how did she get to 2010 in the machine if it doesn't take its whole self there? Maybe if you put something... I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it works.
Well, yeah, no, because no, she has to travel physically. She is 18, and she was born, she was born in 2018. She's 18 years old in 2010, but she was alive in 2036. She didn't get her memories replanted. She moved physically.
I don't know yeah. I mean, I don't think we have...
I guess they could. It's a plot hole, yeah.
Yeah, so she's going to use the time machine again to physically take them back to 1975. So, like, couldn't you write it down inside the time machine, like, on the wall? Like, be like, hey, this is what you're supposed to do.
I guess you could, yeah.
Especially if you know you're going to lose your memories. Also, how do you lose your memories and just stumble out of a time machine?
I think that I remember this one patch is standing out. It's like, they found me in the street. So maybe they'd, like, get flung out of the time machine and the note would be...
Coordinates are always off.
Yeah, the coordinates are always off.
Maybe you're out of it somehow.
Well, maybe that has to do with how it wasn't completely fixed, but, like, the time machine went away. It's not like the time machine stayed there, went off, and then she was gone. Like, the whole thing was gone. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, because they decide to go, and that's the ending.
So I did actually look this up, and I think one of the main writers for this game actually came out and said that they were sorry that this sort of ended ambiguously, and they clarified that Rintaro and Suzuha do have sort of their own happy ending, and the timeline does change.
Oh.
I don't know. I kind of like that it ended ambiguously, personally, but
Yeah, it's still like sweet and hopeful, and like, you know, it's very like that's outside the scope of the real story, but you know, this happened.
yeah.
But it's just one thing, I guess, to note that not all of the endings are quote unquote bad endings. It's just an ending.
Right.
Actually, I think none of them are bad endings. They're all good in their own way.
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah.
Some of them are better, some of them are worse, but they're all...
Some of them are good for CERN.
Yeah, the Jellyman ending.
Which is good for the people.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are hopeful in their own way, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So, next time.
So speaking of, next time we're going to get another ending. So...
Already?
Yep.
Yeah. I bet I know how. I bet I can guess the instructions.
Yeah, they're the same. You're going to play the chapter, and at some point you're going to be asked to send an email back, and you're not going to.
Wait, what? Oh. All right, then.
So we're
going to say yes to the other demon.
What are we doing?
Right?
So we're gonna say yes to the Suzuha related email.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
No to the next one after that.
Oh.
Yeah, you're going to
Okay.
load your save, send email to Suzuha, continue playing. At some point you'll get another prompt for a email, and you're not going to send it.
And then should we play all the way to the end?
Yeah, the next chapter is much shorter than this one, and the next ending is also much shorter than this ending. So it's doable in the single sitting.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, folks.
Until next time.
El
Help
Psychon
Psychon
Guru.
Guru.
El
Psychon
Psychon
Guru.
Guru.
El Psychon Guru.